Hello and welcome back to a very special episode of the Tuesday Checklist. This week we're celebrating having made 100 of these features. No, this isn't actually the 100th episode, we missed that a few weeks ago, but for a really good reason. We wanted this to be a celebration with special guests, so we're very happy to welcome back both Dan and Holly, as well as her dog Rupert. The theme this week is video game confessions, with a bit of a twist. There are 7 of us in this episode, 2 of us will have to tell a lie, the rest the truth, as decided by the draw of a hat. Then we'll all have a guess at who the liars are before a big reveal at the end. Play along and see if you can spot the untruths. First up, welcome back, Holly Bennett.
Okay.
Thank you. I've got 2. Sorry. Okay. Something I haven't told you lot. I tell you guys.
There is.
Yeah, here we go.
I tell you guys everything. So this is actually from when I was really, really young. So I am actually a fan of Metal Gear. Not like I'm a real fan like Rob, not like a whatever you two are now, which is like not real fans. But I'm a massive fan of Metal Gear Solid 2 in particular. So I rented Metal Gear Solid 2. And I loved it so much that instead of giving it back, I just hid it.
Oh, no.
I hid it until everyone forgot about it. And then until the letter came from Primetime, that was utterly terrifying that I was going to court because I had stolen a copy of Metal Gear Solid 2.
There's no that, Holly.
It was a long-term borrow. It was a very long-term borrow, an indefinite one. But yes, I got in an awful lot of trouble and then I had to confess that I had indeed hidden it. And I had to produce the Primetime box. Didn't even have a proper cover on it. I think someone had just written in pen, Metal Gear Solid 2.
Did they drop the court claim?
They did when we paid a rather hefty fine, which was more than if they'd just bought me the game, which is really the moral of the story, which is they just should have bought me the game at the very beginning.
Straight face now.
I know.
Just one.
I'm trying to get just one thing, I just got one.
Just one?
Yeah.
Poker face.
Poker face. So this story takes place before I joined PlayStation Access when I was a young...
What a rubbish time.
Young video games journalist. I've had like various embarrassing encounters. This is probably the most embarrassing. So I was working on Official PlayStation magazine. FIFA, this is about 2009. Maybe 2010, FIFA had started to become more popular. You know, PES was like the big game for years and years and years. I like football, so I covered FIFA every year. I'd go and interview these people. So I had like a niche, you know, I would go and I had like a decent relationship with those guys and I knew who a lot of the team were. And one year, Edge magazine got interested in, FIFA is like picking up. Let's go and do an inside story. We don't really cover football. Who knows about it? We'll send Nath because we all used to work in the same office. So I'm really excited about this. It's like a cover story for Edge magazine. You know, I'm still in my 20s. I'm excited about getting my first ever cover on Edge mag. And I go, like they line up all these interviews and I think I flew over to Vancouver for it. I can't even remember. But the producer behind a lot of the FIFA series success is a guy called David Rutter, and the thing was like for years and years, I would see a new face every year in FIFA because they would come in, these producers, they wouldn't do that well, and then like they'd be gone the next year. And I guess at this point I had like a style of questioning where, you know, I was like walking into these rooms going, gotta ask the hard questions about FIFA. You know what I mean?
Are you Jeremy Paxman?
Can't leave anything on the table. Think of me as the young, naive Jeremy Paxman of specifically arcade sports games. But you can imagine how ridiculous that idea is, like to us now, but especially to someone who's actually working on a game just trying to get the thing made.
Brighton, Edge magazine.
And the year before, I think I had like tried to put a hard question to him, like, aren't you worried about the fact that there's someone different sitting in your chair across from me every year? You know what I mean? So I came back the next year working for Edge magazine, and David Rutter, lo and behold, was still the producer of FIFA, and I thought,
Can't ask that question.
And so
What I had.
I sat down, I said, I tried to explain, I was giving like a big pitch. I'm trying to really get, into underneath what's going on with FIFA. Really, I want you to tell me what the inside story is. And he said, didn't you interview me last year? And I was like, I don't know, I can't remember. And he said, yeah, you told me that I'd be gone by this time next year. Yeah, it was you, it was definitely you. And I think I'd even forgotten that I'd done it, just because it was the same question I asked every year. And I was just like, okay, yeah, I think I maybe did ask that question. And then he just went, yeah, carry on. And that was it. And then I had to try
let's do the interview.
Yeah, let's go.
Looking forward to it.
And by the end, I think he had forgiven me slightly. But yeah, so that was just me, like, thinking I was the big guy, thinking I was the Jeremy Paxman of games, coming up against David Rutter, a very successful video game producer who restored the fortunes of one of the biggest games in the world.
Can you choose from the hat of destiny?
I'm really nervous.
Just one.
Yeah, I believe that's one. That's one.
Something about not knowing what I was going to have to do did make me more nervous than normal.
I know, it's really, like...
That's why I was going to get my stories mixed up.
Okay, so this is a story from... We're all young ones, right? Like, we're all kids. So we're all kids at some point, and this was when... Because I am quite a bit younger.
Whoa!
Quite a bit. That's how you've started. Quite a bit.
We're talking about Wheeler 90 here. That's 1990.
I meant that, so what I'm about to refer to is basically when I was a kid, I used to believe, for some reason, that if I had music from video games playing in my head, I was better at something. So for example, the reason I said that I'm a bit younger is because to give you an example, when it was sports day, I used to, in my head, have the Sonic Heroes theme playing. So of course, you guys were a bit older than me when Sonic Heroes came out, so you'd be like, oh, why was that song in your head? You don't run faster if you have that song stuck in your head. Whereas when you're a little kid, like you're there in a sports day and you're like, I've never been the best runner. So I was like, but I've always wanted to give it my all. So I was there at the line, like in primary school, all the other kids are there, my friends and my enemies. So I'd be there, and then as soon as I start running, I'd like picture Sonic running at the beginning intro cutscene of Sonic Heroes, the music playing in my head, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna run faster. And I genuinely believed that I ran faster because of it. And then again, if we had like, after school, if we had like water pistol fights, I used to have the Metal Gear Solid music playing in my head as I like was sneaking around, because then I felt more like Solid Snake and it was great. But yeah,
When did you stop doing this?
When-
Years ago.
yeah, still to this day.
What's in your head right now?
So
Felix, right?
no,
Presenting my case.
take my case, telling the truth. So that's my little tale that you probably didn't know from, but we're all kids. We all do dumb. Yeah, exactly. We've all done really silly things and believed stupid things when we were kids, and this was just one of them for me for some reason.
I really hope it's one and not the other. Could you give me a few minutes of silence?
I really hope it's the other and not the one. Don't make us patient, Dan.
Okay. Well. My patience has finally paid off.
Happy 100.
Thank you. I'm going to use this opportunity to declare that I am the biggest Star Wars fan in the office.
Oh.
It is related to my story. I'm going to talk about one of the best Star Wars films, top 10 easily, The Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace on PS1. I think I've talked about The Phantom Menace before, but hopefully not this part of it.
Okay.
It's my journey of playing The Phantom Menace.
Yes.
So, I'm 9 years old, because I'm quite young, Rosie. So Star Wars came out in like 99, and the PS1 was out at the time, so I had a PS1 and The Phantom Menace, and nothing else. And that was sort of my first sort of journey into games, but I was fine with it because I was mad about Star Wars, and this was like an easy in for me because I could understand it. So I've got the game, and I get really stuck on level 1. Not because it's hard, but because I didn't really understand games. And my solution to this, because this is before like you can go on YouTube and look at walkthroughs and stuff, my solution was to find someone at school who had played the game and completed it, and just ask them for help. So I got into this routine of every lunchtime, I would follow this guy around the playground. Let's call him Callum because he was called Callum. And he would, the first couple of times he would try and tell me what to do to complete the first level, and I would go home and not be able to do it. And then it turned into him just sort of telling me how the game plays out. So he was giving me the walkthrough and the story of the game, of the film, which I knew about. He was telling me the game version of this film in exquisite detail. I mean, it took months because I was never going to play the game for myself. And so that his story ended. And my time with him ended because he had told me how the game finishes, nothing left untold, all spoilers. And so I was back at home and I was just still really frustrated that I couldn't get past the end of this first level. So I told my dad. My dad didn't really care or understand. And it went on for a few, maybe weeks or months. I would just get really sad. I would come home from school every day and play the first 5 minutes of this game. And then just go and sit in the front room and sulk for a bit. And I think he did eventually get wind of it because one day I did this routine of played the first 5 minutes, went to be sad, and he presented me with the walkthrough manual, like the hardback book. And it was like, I was supposed to give you this for Christmas, but you're so sad, you need to have it now. And it didn't really help much. It took me probably like another 6 months before I got past the end of the first level.
Wow.
And I think eventually I maybe got to like level 5 or 6 out of whatever there was 10. Never finished the game.
Wow.
So maybe now is my time to play it again.
Do you still have it, the walkthrough?
The manual, yeah, I think so, yeah.
I would love to know what it was that stopped young Dan from being able to finish level 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like the jump button?
It's probably a jump or like a dead end I just couldn't figure out, or pushing a block or something.
Make a return to the streams.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe it's a
Okay.
walkthrough game for the streams.
That was the ultimate patient gamer story. Yeah, so patient.
Yeah, I like to treat you with my
So
stories.
patient that he's going to be waiting 20 years.
Yeah.
And you'll finally finish it on stream.
Unless this is a lie, then you can't.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Yeah, speak to you again.
Uninvited. Come snap hat.
Alright. Just seeing. Okay.
3 left.
pieces left. Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh.
Okay.
It's got implications for me. This is what I
Yeah.
don't like.
I mean, for all we know, they could both be licensed in
I
there.
know. I've been wondering.
Okay. Good, that's fine. All right, well, my story involves a little indie game that I don't know if everybody here knows, called God of War.
Lie!
So obviously everybody knows I am the biggest fan of God of War and also battle axes. And so after I played God of War last year, I feel like it's been a whole lifetime with it, but anyway, last year, I got really obsessed with the throwing of the axe that you do. And I was invited, because I tweeted about it and was like, I really want to learn to do it. And I was invited to go to a place called Whistlepunks in London, which is where you can actually go and learn to throw axes. It was amazing. It was truly like the best thing I've ever done. I really loved it. Although, fun fact, when I arrived, so you do it in lanes, kind of like bowling. And when I arrived, someone in the lane next to me, their axe bounced back, which was terrifying. And that was like right, and they were like, don't worry. Like, that's fine. I was like, okay. Which was terrifying. And it turns out I'm quite good at it. I don't know how to say it other than I really love it. But also they're really, really good teachers, and they like show you how to like balance the axe, and you have to like throw it like a opposite to how you'd kind of imagine. So what this has led to is me furthering my obsession, and I'm now having an axe made because I am going to genuinely try and compete in the axe throwing world championships.
What?
Yeah.
No way. Where are they held?
So they rotate. So
Okay.
this year they were in, incorrectly thrown. So this year they were in the UK, but they get held, basically there's loads of axe and knife throwing clubs in Europe, and it rotates around them. And so this year you have to have your own axe, which I don't have, otherwise I genuinely would have gone this year.
Yeah.
It's not as impressive as it sounds because you don't need to qualify, you can just enter yourself and then there are qualifiers within it, but to go and take part you don't have to qualify. So that's my plan, and so I have to like have an axe made. I actually have to have 3 axes, but I'm buying 2 and getting one made. And you go to a guy and he like looks at how you hold an axe and throw it so it can be balanced for your hand, and it has to be like a regulation width blade and stuff like that, and then you can like have it all decorated how you want, which is the bit I'm quite excited about. Genuinely like Ollivander's but for axes. And so this guy's going to build me an axe, and then I'm going to take it and compete in the World Championships of Axe Throwing.
Here we go. I'm really nervous. It's so weird. It's so weird. I lie to you guys all the time.
Every Tuesday, check this entry's been a lie.
Yeah. Okay. Now, this is.
It's a lie.
I don't know what you mean.
Doubt.
Yes. So, I can't live with guilt. This is what I'm trying to say to you. Like, so actually, the idea of lying to people is just like my worst nightmare. It's not going to happen, which is kind of ironic given this challenge. And my story, which is true by the way, is it paints me in a bad way, and it's you know, I'll just tell you. So I was young too once, Rosie. A little longer ago than you. I was in primary school. I was in primary school, and one day my friend and I, you know, when you're young, you just kind of like can hang out with your friends and their family. We went on a big family shopping trip to Tesco's, and at Tesco's, there was, you know, no one wants to be at Tesco's, especially not when you're 10 or whatever. So me and my friend were like, we'll just hang around by the magazines and we'll wait for you, parents and his older sister, to do the shopping, and we'll just be by the magazines. And what I didn't realise at the time was that he wanted us to steal the demo disc from a PlayStation magazine. And I feel quite sad telling you this story because it's, you know, like Holly's story was about kind of stealing, but she managed to make it sound fluffy and nice. Whereas I've thought about this many times over the years, and it's just straight up stealing. So I don't really know, because I don't feel like we had a discussion about it, but suddenly it was just happening. He's just like, we good if I get that demo disc, we can play the demos, you know? And I'm like, more games, I like games, that would be good. And he's like, I don't have any money though. And I was like, yeah. And I don't know, suddenly he was just kind of like investigating how the disc was attached to the front of the magazine. And then suddenly I was kind of like looking to see if there was any security guards around. And then he'd kind of like whipped off the demo disc, and then we walked away, and then it was the worst day of my life. So I absolutely, I hate this. I hate that this happened. I feel awful about it. And I remember distinctly that like evening we were playing, I don't know what was on the demo disc. I don't think it wasn't like, oh my God, we need this game. It was just some demos. But I remember his sister came in to the room and was like, I know what you did. And we were both like, I was instantly like sick to my stomach, just like, and she said, I heard you swearing in Tesco's. And I was like, oh my God, thank God. She doesn't know what we really did. She just heard us swearing. Also, please don't tell your parents that I could swear. But so yeah, so that's what happened. When I was 10, I helped my best friend steal a demo disc.
Oh, what is it going to be?
You should already know what this is, Rob, if you've studied carefully.
Well, I don't. I'm terrible at this. I actually have no idea.
Backwards now, we'll see.
I'm really hoping I've never told this story before. I think I may have told elements, but not the whole thing. I'm going to tell you the story of the origins of my PSN ID. Because it's quite a strange one. My PSN ID is AverMedia, and every so often I'll get a tweet like, "Why is your PSN name AverMedia? What does AverMedia mean?" You know, it sounds like quite an interesting word. People are like, "Is that a Latin word for something? What does it mean?" It's like, yes, it's Latin for inner strength. That's not true. AverMedia is a word that my sister and I came up with. Are we all familiar with Pingu?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's on Pingu.
So people who are watching this video who aren't familiar with Pingu, Pingu is a children's TV program about a family of penguins. But Pingu and his family used to speak in this made-up gobbledygook language that my sister and I found absolutely hilarious, and I'm sure many other people found absolutely hilarious. And we actually got quite good at doing it, like the language.
Really?
So yeah, in fact I can. I can do all of Pingu's family if you like.
Now?
So like.
This is literally the content
So-
I subscribe to.
So Pingu's like. And then.
Oh,
And then he'll annoy Pingu's dad, like, and then Pingu's mum will be like, and then, but there's this one episode that's amazing where Pingu's little sister, who I think is called Pinga.
Penga, isn't it?
Penga, it's Penga, yes. There's this hilarious episode where Pingu drinks too much and he really needs the loo, but he can't get to the loo because his dad's on the bathroom, and it creates this entire scene where he's like, and Pingu's desperate, he's like, but Pinga's also drunk a load of stuff, and she comes in, and because she's really, really young, even younger than you, Rosie, she's like 3. Hello. Have I spoken his language or something?
You have your own Pingu.
Baby, come back to mummy.
Penga comes in and just wheeze on the floor. And I remember watching this episode with my sister, and it was just, I could not, like, you know when you get that laughter where it just hurts your stomach, like we're just rewinding it, and she comes in and she's like, wheeze everywhere. And so after this episode, me and my sister just and it used to drive my mum insane, like absolutely insane. We would come in, we'd just run into a room, and just like drop something. That would be the thing. You say avocani and you muck something up. Like you come running into the room, and it was just a thing my sister and I did for ages. And at the time I was creating my PSN ID, it was at the kind of date we were too old for that kind of thing now by that stage, but we still remembered it. It was like, do you remember? And I just decided that's going to be my PSN name. And it's been my PSN name ever since. So it's not a Latin word for inner strength.
Well, not that you know of.
What it actually is what Penga the penguin says before she wets herself. That is why my PSN name is Avocani.
Wow.
You made me cry.
Is that beautiful?
Yeah.
It's a touching story.
So that's everyone's story. Holly borrowed MGS2 from the rental shop. Nath, that's me, was called out for asking tough guy questions to the wrong producer. Rosie has video game music playing in her head the whole time. Is there anyone who thinks this is a lie? Dan got stuck for months on level 1 of the Phantom Menace, despite the help of Callum. Inspired by God of War, Elle is entering the World Axe Throwing Championships. Dave once stood by as a friend made off with a magazine demo disc, and Rob has revealed the shocking origin story of his PSN ID. Got your guesses ready? Here are ours.
It's really tough when you're sat in this chair, isn't it, to say.
This is really hard. I hate it. I truly hate it.
God, it's really hard.
I don't think you'd tell that story on camera for the internet to see.
Whoever has done the lies, they're all very on brand.
The lies, then. The lies.
Point to the ones that are lying. Paul,
He looked at Dave.
he says Dave.
I honestly haven't got a clue, so I'm just going to say I think Dave's a liar, and also
You have to say it like that.
I think Holly, you're lying as well.
I'm going to say, I think Nath and Holly.
I'm gonna go with Dave, and I'm gonna spice it up. Elle.
So I'm going to say my liars are Elle and Holly.
Elle and Nathan are the liars.
I think the liars are Dan Wheeler and Holly Bennett.
Dave, I hope you're not telling the truth. I really hope you're lying to us all. So you are one of the liars. 2 stealing entries are both lies is a bit much, I think. So Nath is the other liar.
Would the 2 real liars please make their way to the sofa? Who is it? Oh no! No!
We got one! I knew it! We got one!
I feel like a weight's been lifted.
Dave, wait, what does this mean for you?
Yeah.
Dave the thief.
Dave's last day.
So, we should talk. Let's start with Dan.
Okay.
Was there any truth to this? Just that you played. What was the lie? How much of it was the lie? Everything? Was it completely controlled? Tell me, Dan.
I never got stuck on that game. Callum's a real guy that I spent some time in the playground with a few years back, but that's it.
So tell us about you, your story. Have you even been axe throwing?
Yeah.
Knew it.
I mean, yes.
Your Instagram story that you've been answering.
I've been axe throwing, but I'm not. Although to be fair, in googling the World Championships, I do want to go now. So it has become true because now I genuinely do plan to just go and enter myself. But no, I'm not, and I'm making my own axe at a workshop soon, but I'm not having one made.
Well, thanks, liars.
Yeah, thanks.
You're so welcome.
Thanks to Dan and Holly for coming back.
Yay!
And Rupert.
And Rupert, especially Rupert.
The real star.
Hey, Rupert.
And that's where we've cut out a full minute of Rupert refusing to jump on the sofa. He'll never make it in show business. Thank you for watching this episode and for supporting the Tuesday Checklist for the last 2 years. We wouldn't be here without you. Thanks to Holly for being our special guest. Give us a like if you enjoyed this video and click that notification bell so you never miss another Tuesday Checklist. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next week.
For the players.